What's up, everybody? This is Eric Mashinsky. I'm your editor. This video is going to go out to both the Phenom crypto letter, which is what spurred me to do this video tonight. But I also want to send this to Gold Investment Letter subscribers as well, because this is a briefing. It's a macro update. We saw some real damage in the crypto markets over the weekend, along with the tariffs. I expect the crypto markets to lead the way in terms of risk appetite in the marketplace. Okay. So that's why it's very relevant. However, tonight, gold is open. It is open tonight, and it is basically, let me see here. Now it's positive. It was like down 3% a few minutes ago. And yeah, it's flat. So this is why it's been so important for me to continue to look at the compatibility of owning Bitcoin and gold. On top of that, I am a speculator and an investor and a trader, but that's more of, part of my background and my DNA. But I don't like to bring those of you that are here in your leisure time and, to take a shot at certain things that you're doing with your money, and you're learning, which is awesome. I'm really grateful, by the way, just that I have an audience, period. Um, it might not be the case, and I do, and I just thought of that today. So thank you so much for listening to my musings. But um, anyway, the trading side is not that important. I really want to talk about the longer term, the medium term, but we have to acknowledge the short term. There's a flush of liquidity and risk happening right now, and this should be a leading indicator for equity markets. We'll see how the week goes on Wall Street, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see a correction. I was not really going to pull up charts, but I might as well. I'll just do it myself, and I'm going to comment because I want to keep this quick so a lot of you watch this tonight going into tomorrow. I think it's an important time to just check in on our strategy, what we're doing, and you know, if we get shaken hard, which the crypto world is. Um, I mean, look, the S&P. Here's the thing about this whole move: the everything bubble that we're in. Tariffs are generally inflationary. Okay, they drive prices up. We also, in the world, by the way, led by the US and the US dollar, which is a hegemony that is the world's reserve currency by choice or by force, whatever you want to look at it as. But um, fiat currency is being debased because of the amount of debt that we have in the world. It will be debased to zero. The US dollar will. It's not going to happen in one night. I've been pleasantly surprised as an American that it has not crashed against other fiat currencies, but it has crashed in terms of our purchasing power. We know that here. You have to read through the lines when you look at the reality of your life. If the government is telling us we've had no inflation for a long period of time, and very little, and then we had the spike to 10%, and all of a sudden it's coming back down. We know that from the daily expenses we have and expenditures over the last, since COVID, let's call it, they've skyrocketed. They're up tremendously. I'm not going to speculate on how much, it doesn't matter. But it does matter in terms of what do we want to do with spreading out our risk profile, and what do we want to do in terms of protecting ourselves, and how can we do that? I have been saying going into the election, with a lot of the frothiness that I felt, especially, and I'm going to be speaking to the crypto folks here, this meme deal, the speculative frenzy in memes, there was one token up today. Okay. Trump, Trump's meme. Every single, the only other marginal 0.01% up cryptos in the market today are stable coins of the US dollar and Trump. I'm going to check it again here. Official Trump is up 4.59% to a market cap of 4.1 billion. So everything else is crushed. There are outstanding, just amazing projects that are being roiled over the weekend. Things that we own in long-term portfolios that have real utility, that are not going anywhere. I'm looking at Chainlink down 18.8% in 7 days. That thing has been trading much, much better than it had. but just gotten steamrolled. But it's not alone. I mean, you look at the 7 day number. We've even seen things like Thorchain, which is blown up. Basically, it should be able to. I think they may make it through. By the way, but I wouldn't count on it. You have to let some of these bombs go. Same thing with the mining investors. We have a unique situation, and I hate to do the double speak thing here because usually I talk to one audience, but this is a macro issue, and it's one and in the same to a degree to me, because having the crypto side is really the massive upside, um, but also the speculative mining stocks, which I believe are going to see not only a better day, but they might see a real long sustained bull market in environments like this. This is going to be very interesting because I always say that, oh, by the way, so my point with the Trump coin being up and everything else being down, it's official. The world is spiritually retarded and emotionally dyslexic. Okay. That's official. Like, why the hell would you be buying up a Trump meme coin in a bloodbath? Uh, I don't know, dude. Seriously, listen. I've still got some, I hope, level of rationality in life, and part of that is the part of it that bothers me with the crypto meme frenzy is people when I'm talking to them. I was at a conference here. Shout out to Chris Sullivan and the Libertas Fund for this cool Satoshi shirt, which is very comfortable. This last week, Real Vision had a conference, crypto conference here in Miami, and um, the people that I was talking to across the dinner table on Thursday night, the few of them that flew in for this, I think individual investors, they weren't necessarily pros, but high net worth individuals that are deep in the crypto game. And it was like a couple of them when I would talk about crypto in general, they thought that I was referring to meme coins, like when I had these big, huge returns in the last cycle on stuff. I'm like, dude, I don't own meme coins. It's not doesn't make any sense to me to be doing that. Like, you do that out of like pure desperation and gamble to try to get something to get you out of Babylon, to get you out of the system that you're locked in and trapped in. And people feel that way. It is absolutely, um, it's rough out there. I can see it on people's faces. Look at normal folks. We happen to be, if you're here at an investment newsletter update, I think there is some privilege to the fact that if we have resources, can pay our bills, have room to do things we want to do. I was reminded this weekend about how awesome and blessed that really is. But in any event, on this crypto smackdown today, I am not buying into the crypto bloodbath tonight yet. I think that the crypto, if this continues, I feel like this is where I have a big advantage as a Gen Xer and somebody who's been in capital markets since I was 20 years old. So nearly 30 years of experience as a professional investor, first dropping out of college and becoming a stockbroker in Chicago. At that time, it was sort of like the analog time, which is obviously morphed into digital. But that's why, like tonight, I was like, I'm not even going to go into any charts because I can feel there's a feel to the tape, to the ticker tape. They call it reading the tape. It also has to do with those feelings that you get when you have things like this happen, when all of a sudden, in like 2 days, you have core positions in an area and they're down 25, 30, 35%. You feel it. You feel it, and you're going to want to react to it. And I'm not also reacting. I would say that for those of you that the biggest thing we would encourage to avoid in environments like we're in today, where there was a lot of anticipation built up into this election, it doesn't mean, these markets look ahead. They look ahead. I don't know the number on every scenario, but I think it's somewhere in the ballpark of 7, 8, 9 months, in my experience, that the markets trade ahead on and see, not on today's news, even though we get these reactionary things. But this could all end up being really another backstop and benchmark in if we get into an inflationary environment in the world. It's why you want to own gold. It's why you want to own Bitcoin. Bitcoin is simply a much more offensive tool of gold and a way to get large returns until that thing ends up being so big that it's matured like gold. But you have to have gold in your portfolio. And the reason is because look at today. People talk about Bitcoin being digital gold, and you don't know what you're talking about. I don't care who you are. You do not understand the difference between gold and Bitcoin and where we are in their lifespans and what they do for us. Will Bitcoin become the preferred gold over gold? Sure, buddy. I own them both. But when you go into September, November 2021, into the top of the last Bitcoin cycle and trade to 67, 68,000, 66,000, wherever it was, and I was banking up to 600x profits on, altcoins, shit coins, if you will, and had so many big gains, really just incredible, blew me away. I was selling as fast as I possibly could in that space. And my one thought was I need to be taking action in this. Like, I didn't know that it was for sure a top, but it was a retest of that top area that had hit earlier in the year. And so I'm like, I need to take things off right under this area in case that is the cap. And the majority of my capital went into physical gold or physical gold related priced items. Okay. At that time. Fast forward 1 year, and I will look at a chart so I have something fairly accurate on this remembrance. But when we go back to, let's see, 2021, yeah, we had the S&P 47 down to the S&P flushed, I believe it was over 25%. Bitcoin was down 1 year. This is 1 year after the tops that happened in 21. Okay. I'm just going to make sure I get this correct. Um, it's not coming up. Anyway, the Bitcoin price was smoked and crypto was smoked. It went into a crypto winter. And I remember distinctly, it was a year after the top in November of 2022. We were in the bottom of crypto winter. When you will see, if you want to go on my YouTube at Gold Investment Letter, which is predominantly, or I would encourage you guys, if you're interested in the crypto space after all this time, it's not going away. It's here to stay. It's what has made me, the mining market and metals market speculation there has actually given me the runway with money, extra money to have a real market move higher in net worth and wealth. Um, I think we're going to see that also, by the way, in our metals investments, especially as it pertains to those equities. We have been, and this is the exact example that you want to be looking at. People are chasing Trump coin when they can be buying gold in the ground in junior mining companies for 4, 5, 6, $7 US an ounce. I mean, look at like International Tower Hill Mines, THM on the NYSE or Amex, and ITH in Toronto. As an aside, 20 million ounces of gold in Alaska. The thing is trading for less than $100 million market cap. So you're talking about less than $5 an ounce of gold in the ground. It's at nearly all-time lows, and nobody cares, but you will, because it's going to go so much higher. And then people will look for these things as it gets tougher and tougher to find that alpha that we're all looking for out there. But I would just say, right now is a great time to just check in, which is what I wanted to do tonight, and essentially say, for either one of the groups, I've got the Phenom Crypto Letter YouTube channel, which is new, and the Gold Investment Letter, but I've come on repeatedly during the time that I referenced in Q4 2022, and especially in January 2023. That was also when I was coming back from the dead and being sick, where I was pounding the table as hard as I could for people to buy Bitcoin when it was sub 17,000. And it's tough if you've gotten plowed in a bear market, and Bitcoin was down more than 50% at that time, year over year. And then I looked at my gold 1 year on 1 year, and it was down 1%. This is why people don't know what you're talking about with stores of value today versus tomorrow. Let's look at the fact that you can choose levers with Bitcoin and gold, and there are times to increase the lever of Bitcoin and risk and press it. And there are times to ratchet that back. Make sure you're strong in gold so that you have a baseline, that you have that 10 to 15% of what you have in life is in gold or physical gold related pricing, which will protect that amount of your nest egg. Since the early 70s, when we took the link away from creating fiat dollars and debt to gold stockpiles, the price of gold has gone up over 10.3% annualized over the last 54 years. Think about that. What is that? That means that in real terms, gold is positive over the last half of a century. And pretty much within a few years here or there over the recent decades. That's what it is. That's what it does. It's essentially an inverse mirror to fiat currencies. It is a very handy thing to have, especially if everybody's trying to jump out of the plane because you think you're going to crash and there's a log jam at the door. You can chill in the back with your gold bars and say it's all going to be good. And then, actually, which is what I was lucky to do, it moves some of that physical gold allocation that I put into the Bitcoin from Bitcoin and crypto profits in late 2021. That was only down 1% over that year. And I started to move it over back into cash and going back into crypto to boost that position. So you can go, if you're interested, through the Gold Investment Letter YouTube timeline and just pull up anything from like January 23 or anything in late 22 and see what I was saying, see if I knew what I was talking about. We had our Real Vision series that was done, let's see, that was a little over probably about 14, 15 months ago that started, where we were talking about investing in the minefield, which was very broad with taking risk. So it wasn't just metals and mining and gold, but that was the base layer, but also crypto, also just macro, everything to do with risk and with crazy shit. That's what I love. That's what I do. That's why I'm here. And hopefully, the messaging resonates with some of you. I really would encourage any of you that have been sitting back. Like we had, for example, I don't know how many, but I've gotten a handful of texts that have shared with me this speculation that we were buying for 2.5 years in the crypto equity market that just went up as of like a week or two ago. It was up 60x for people that I preached and just continued to say, do not give up on this deal, HODL in Canada, CYFRF in the US. And to my dismay, a lot of people that I thought had owned it and it could have made everybody whole with mining stocks that are down and get you way ahead, uh, they had given up too early and sold it. But then I asked for people that had a positive impact on, and I believe we've probably minted somewhere in the neighborhood 30, 40, 50, 60, maybe more new millionaires from that one stock. Because up 60x, you could be an average bloke, as they say in London. And I know people that put in $9,000 that, they came up with and believed in what I was telling them at the time when that thing was under 10 cents Canadian, around 10 cents Canadian, and then went over $6. Um, you know, that's a big deal, man. That's like 9 grand turning into uh yeah, $500,000. So some people put in more, and it's really been a big deal. And I'm really grateful to hear those stories of people that have had like you've broken out. So I would encourage those of you that have had like a hit like that. It's important for you. I've seen some comments like on the last YouTube that I did and things uh, about knowing when to take profits on that thing. You think it's really wise for you not to join premium membership? really at both Phenom Crypto Letter and Gold Investment Letter. If you are interested in either or both of those spaces, you don't think it's worth the investment of paying me a marginal amount to pay? You would be very clear on how we did and do and will and are taking profits on that position. The toughest part of the game, by the way. Knocking some of these out of the park uh, is going to happen. We actually had a very big drought at the Gold Investment Letter for when we have had no 10 plus baggers, over the course of the bear market that started in late 2020. It was my biggest drought. So we've hit a few homers since then, just in the last, 12 months. Um, and and a grand slam, a mega grand slam, even though it was outside of our space. I wanted to encourage people to get some exposure there in what you're familiar with, which is you don't have to open a crypto account, you can just buy a stock. But that's rare for me to do. And it's also something that I would just say on the feeling of what's going on in this market from my analog days. That's what I want to give you the update on tonight. I'm not buying into the crypto bloodbath tonight or today. I'm going to let it roll a little bit. I want to see how this plays out this week on the street. I think crypto is the tip of the spear, if you will. It's the first mover to reflect risk and risk on and off appetites in the world today. What does that mean? That means that equities may follow. Speculation in AI stocks and things of that nature, quantum computing. I don't know that they're done. I really don't. But this could be something where those are the ones that are going to get hatcheted wherever there's any sort of real anticipation built into companies' valuations. And and that could also include like the Magnificent Seven or whatever it is in the S&P, um, and even the S&P and the QQs as well. But those should be shorter term opportunities for those that have some cash. And I will be very aggressive when the time comes when I'm deploying capital back in, uh, something like this Soul Strategies, which was called Cypherpunk Holdings, that we hit on. It made my entire 2024 with a number of other, stock picks and cryptocurrencies that took off outside of some of the things we cover at the Gold Investment Letter for our free e-letter and at Phenom Crypto. You're both going to get this today. Everybody's going to get this video. I would just say, like, if you want to get a little bit more serious and join the premium, that's where you get the real juice and communication here for me, because I know that you're honoring me with real money. And I appreciate it. And I know that I want to make that back for people with hopefully intellectual capital and experience that is valuable. So I would encourage you guys, join one, join two, join them both, and get in the game going forward, especially if you're a bit wondering like what the hell is going on. You at least know that, we have got, I think, a very good handle on these markets as they've evolved from analog to digital, from the barbaric relic of gold to the new world order of crypto digital assets, Bitcoin, BlackRock, Larry Fink, Goldman Sachs, et al. We were early on everything. And I hope we will continue to be. And it's a mad world. But tonight, I wanted to just say hello. And I don't know that I have anything else for now. I will be coming out this week, particularly if we get some sales and or fire sales, further fire sales in it's going to be really soon on the crypto side that I'll update the model portfolio on the premium service and let you know what I'm shopping. But I have not deployed any money this weekend. I'm not going in there and buying with this type of a royal with this type of volume. And they do this stuff to manipulate markets over weekends sometime. But I don't know. This one feels like it might have a little further to go. I prefer to pay up than be the guy trying to catch a falling knife at this moment. That's just my sense. And I thank the Lord for the tape reading, ticker tape reading experience that I had as a Gen Xer, because it all was feeling. It was like you would feel the correction, you would feel what it was doing to the energy of this stuff, to the value that you were working to build up. and you could tell, and there would be points where you would feel like this can't go on much. It's not going to get much worse. Like this is bad, and I'm going to throw up. Uh, and so I've been through a lot of those things, and we may not be there now, but I think our gold and metals and mining investors, I'm going to have a new special soon on the critical metals. There is going to be a lot of action in real assets and commodities and precious metals prices, critical metal prices, and their mining equity markets. So crypto folks, be advised as well. It's not just converting those old gold bugs over to Bitcoin and crypto. You may want to get into the game where the only sector in the world that I believe right now that I know is cheap is in mining and metals. Come say hi. Cheers, guys.